All right, so today we're diving into a mystery um, that's haunted Hollywood, really,
Yeah.
for decades. The death of George Reeves, the original Superman
hmm
from that 1950s TV show. Um, and you've sent us some pretty intriguing source material on this,
Yes.
including, well, his death certificate
Hmm.
and a telegram from his mother.
Right.
And so it seems you're looking for a closer look at the facts surrounding this. And, well, that's exactly what we're here to do today.
Yeah, this is a case that just continues to fascinate,
What's it?
even after all this time. I suspect it's partially because of the man himself.
Yeah.
Reeves, was a successful actor before he even took on the role of Superman. He was even in Gone with the Wind.
Wow.
But it was that red cape, that really defined his career.
It makes you think, right, about the impact of typecasting on an actor's psyche,
Mm-hmm.
especially for someone like Reeves, who played such an iconic, larger-than-life character.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Imagine achieving widespread fame, but then feeling trapped by a single role.
Yeah.
And the pressure to embody that persona, both on and off screen,
Right.
can be immense.
Yeah.
So in a way, the actor becomes a prisoner of their own success.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's rough. And we've seen this play out in other cases, though, too, throughout Hollywood history. But okay, back to Reeves. Let's rewind to the night of June 16th, 1959.
Okay.
There was a party at his home
Right.
with, a mix of friends and acquaintances present.
Yes. Then, in the early morning hours of June 17th, Reeves was found dead in his bedroom
Oh, my gosh.
from a gunshot wound to the head.
And his death certificate, which we have right here, lists the official cause of death as suicide.
The certificate itself is fairly standard in format. For the time period, it lists his name, date of birth, place of death, which was his residence, and cause of death. It even specifically notes his occupation as U.S. television and motion picture star.
Really, U.S. television and motion picture star.
Mm.
Interesting. It's almost as if to underscore, I don't know, the magnitude of the event.
Right.
But what really jumps out at me here is this telegram from his mother
Yes.
sent to the funeral home handling, the arrangements.
This telegram, this is where things start to get interesting. Not only does she authorize them to proceed, but she explicitly states absolutely no cremation.
Absolutely no cremation. And then adding another layer of curiosity to this, she requests that his body be held at the Basolo stage
Yes.
until her arrival.
Right.
Now, the Basolo stage was a well-known mortuary in Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
and it appears, the family might have had some prior connection to it.
Possibly. It's unusual to have such specific instructions,
Yeah.
particularly the part about cremation.
Right.
While we can't speculate on the family's reasons, it certainly raises questions.
So we've got this official ruling of suicide, yet the mother's telegram seems to want to control the situation.
Yeah.
Why the insistence on no cremation and this very specific holding location?
Let's consider that for a moment. So, suicide investigations typically involve an autopsy, right?
Right.
Then, unless there are, religious or personal beliefs preventing it, cremation or burial is arranged.
Uh-huh.
This telegram deviates from that.
Almost as if she's guarding something. But guarding what?
This is where the facts we have hit a wall. These documents offer a glimpse into the circumstances, but don't reveal the why behind it all. We don't know Reeves's state of mind,
Right.
his relationships,
Yeah.
any struggles he might have been facing at the time.
Yeah, all we have are these pieces of the puzzle, like the death certificate, this telegram, and then the official ruling of suicide.
Right.
And yet, as we've seen, these pieces don't quite fit neatly together.
They don't. Welcome back to our deep dive.
Yes.
We've been examining the life and death of George Reeves here,
Hey.
using the documents you've provided. And as we've just discussed, those documents, while
Yeah.
factual,
Right.
leave plenty of room for questions.
Exactly. And where there are questions, there are often theories.
Mm.
In the decades since Reeves' death, there have been many.
Many.
Now, it's important to be clear here. We're not presenting these as facts.
Right.
Just exploring, what's been circulating.
That's key. It's about understanding the different perspectives and the reasoning behind them.
So the first theory we encounter is foul play. The idea that Reeves's death wasn't suicide, but a murder.
This theory is fueled, in part, by the Hollywood backdrop. In the 1950s, the studio system,
Yes.
wielded immense power.
Right.
And the lives of actors were often entangled in a web of, complex relationships and potentially dangerous liaisons.
There's speculation about love affairs, career rivalries, even whispers about connections to organized crime.
Right.
It certainly adds a layer of intrigue to an already mysterious case.
It does, and in the absence of concrete answers, these narratives can gain traction. It's human nature to, want to fill in the blanks,
Right.
to find an explanation that satisfies our need for closure.
But then we have another theory,
Yeah.
one that focuses on Reeves' state of mind.
Okay.
This theory suggests that he was deeply unhappy, feeling trapped by the Superman role.
The psychological effects of typecasting can be profound. Actors invest so much of themselves in their roles, their emotions,
Right.
their time, their very identity.
It's all-consuming.
When one role dominates their career, it can lead to a sense of being pigeonholed, of having their potential stifled.
And playing Superman, that symbol of strength and invincibility,
Right.
must have added a unique layer of pressure.
Yes.
Like, how do you live up to that image when the cameras stop rolling, when you're dealing with the same human struggles as everyone else?
Exactly. This theory proposes that the weight of this public persona, combined with potential career frustrations, might have pushed Reeves to a breaking point.
This brings us back to the telegram from his mother. Could her insistence on no cremation be tied to a desire to protect her son's image? Perhaps to prevent any further examination that might reveal something, I don't know, deemed unfitting for Superman.
It's a possibility. The telegram's wording suggests a strong desire to control the narrative surrounding his death,
Right.
even down to the specific details of his final arrangements.
So we have two major theories here,
Yes.
each offering a different interpretation of the limited facts we have.
Mm-hmm.
One points to external forces, the other to an internal struggle.
Right?
But there's another theory worth mentioning here,
Okay.
one that suggests that Reeves' death was accidental.
Accidental. Okay.
This theory often centers on the idea that perhaps Reeves was handling the gun carelessly,
Uh-huh.
unaware that it was loaded. It proposes that a tragic misjudgment, rather than intent,
Yeah.
led to the fatal shot. Admittedly, this one feels less plausible given the circumstances, but it highlights an important point. We can't definitively rule out any possibility without conclusive evidence.
Absolutely. It's crucial to avoid jumping to conclusions based solely on speculation or what seems most likely.
Right.
A thorough investigation considers all potential scenarios.
And that's where the limitations of our sources become apparent.
Yes.
These documents provide crucial pieces of the puzzle, but leave many gaps unfilled.
Mm-hmm.
We're left with more questions than answers.
Which, in a way, mirrors the broader challenge of historical inquiry, right?
Yeah.
We're often attempting to reconstruct the past with incomplete information, relying on interpretation, inference, and a healthy dose of critical thinking.
What stands out to you about these various theories?
For me, it's the way they reflect our own human tendencies. We seek explanations, we create narratives, we try to make sense of the senseless, especially when it involves someone whose life and death have captured the public imagination.
And this case certainly does that.
It does.
But as we weigh these theories, as we grapple with the unanswered questions, it's vital to remember the human element at the heart of it all. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our, deep dives into the death of George Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, this case just keeps getting more and more complex.
It does. The deeper we go.
It's a story that transcends, I think, the typical Hollywood tragedy.
How so?
We're not just dealing with the death of an actor,
Yeah.
but the death of an icon.
Right. This wasn't just any role. This was Superman.
Right.
A figure who embodied, hope and strength for a generation.
For a whole generation.
Which makes the circumstances of his death all the more jarring.
It does.
It forces us to confront, the dissonance
Yes.
between the idealized image we have of Superman
Yeah.
and the very human reality of George Reeves.
Right.
It makes you wonder about the man behind the mask, so to speak. What was his life like beyond the public persona?
Mm-hmm.
Or his aspirations, his struggles? We can find glimpses of that, I think, in the trajectory of his career.
Okay.
He achieved early success in Hollywood, even landed a role in Gone with the Wind.
Wow.
But then came Superman.
Right.
And it was as if his other accomplishments were overshadowed by the cape.
We talked about the impact of typecasting earlier.
Right.
But it's worth emphasizing, how deeply it can affect an actor's sense of self.
It really can.
It can be incredibly difficult to break free from an iconic role,
Mm-hmm.
to convince the world that you're more than just that one character.
Right.
And in Reeves' case, he was playing a symbol of perfection, a being who transcended human limitations.
Exactly.
The pressure to live up to that image, both on and off screen, must have been immense.
Absolutely.
We've explored the various theories surrounding his death, the
Yes.
possibility of foul play, the idea that he was despondent over his career,
Hmm.
even the suggestion of an accidental shooting.
Right.
But ultimately, we're left with a sense of ambiguity.
Here we are. That's the nature of historical inquiry, isn't it? Yeah.
We're often trying to piece together a fragmented picture, relying on incomplete evidence and interpretation.
And sometimes the most honest answer is that we simply don't know for sure.
Sometimes we just don't know.
But that doesn't mean the journey is any less valuable,
No,
right?
it doesn't.
By examining the evidence, exploring the different perspectives,
Correct.
and grappling with the unanswered questions,
Mm-hmm.
we engage in a process of critical thinking.
Yes.
We sharpen our ability to, analyze information
Mm-hmm.
and to form our own conclusions.
Our own conclusions.
In a way, it's like we're conducting our own, mini investigation.
Right.
We've looked at the death certificate, scrutinized the telegram,
Yes.
considered the various theories.
We have.
So what stands out to you, as being the most significant piece of this whole puzzle?
For me, it's the telegram from his mother.
Really?
It's a document that raises more questions than it answers.
Okay. Yeah.
The insistence on no cremation, the specific instructions regarding his body.
They hint at something more, like a story that goes beyond the official narrative.
I agree. It's a detail that just doesn't quite fit neatly into the suicide ruling.
Right.
It suggests a level of control, a desire to manage the situation that sparks curiosity.
Really does.
It also speaks to the power dynamics at play.
Right.
In the 1950s, the studio system held immense sway
They did.
over the lives of actors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that there were pressures, both personal and professional,
Yeah.
that we may never fully understand.
You may never know.
Yeah, we may never know the full truth of what happened to George Reeves,
Mhm.
but perhaps it's not really the point, right?
Right.
Perhaps the value lies in the exploration itself,
He does.
in the process of piecing together the fragments of information
Mm-hmm.
and forming our own informed opinions.
Exactly. And in recognizing the limitations of our knowledge,
Yes.
there's a certain humility in acknowledging that we may never have all the answers, that history is often shrouded in mystery and ambiguity.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, we leave you with this. What will you take away from this story? Will you delve further into these various theories? Will you seek out more information about George Reeves' life beyond Superman? The choice is yours. The quest for knowledge is an ongoing journey, and sometimes the most rewarding discoveries are the ones we make ourselves.